We good?
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the Wareham School Committee meeting on May 19th, 2025. This meeting will be broadcast live by WCTV and recorded by WCTV and Jamie Wixton. Please stand for the pledge. Thank you. We will start off by moving right to item number 5 on the agenda, which is the reorganization of the school committee. And I would like to begin with the chair. Do I have a motion for a nominee for the chair of the committee?
I'd like to nominate Jeff Sweat for chair.
Second.
So a motion for Jeff Sweat and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Done deal. Congratulations. The meeting is yours.
Thank you very much, colleagues. I appreciate it. It's always an honor, and it's a big responsibility, but I'm surrounded by great people, so it makes it a whole lot easier. I will now take nominations for vice chair.
I'd like to nominate Kevin Borjali as vice chair.
Second.
Any other nominations? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Welcome, Kevin. You didn't quite escape.
Moved down to full seat.
Yeah. And I will now take, as one more officer, everybody, and that is secretary. I'll take nominations for secretary, please.
I'd like to nominate Joyce Bakayaki.
I'll second that.
Any other nominations? Okay. All
I-
those in favor?
I didn't hear what you said.
You didn't hear, oh, Joyce Bakayaki was the nomination. Is that
Oh,
what
okay.
Yes, okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? We're in business. Thank you. And thank you to the two of you for continuing to serve in a variety of capacities. We are now going to go on to good news, and this is the point where we promise not to steal Emma's thunder. So does anybody have any good news that Emma is not going to tell us about?
Well, I'd like to recognize our new school committee member,
Yes?
Roger Bonin. Thank you very much for put yourself out there. It's not often, it's sometimes a thankless task, but it's rewarding working with all the people in the district and for the students of the district. And so I know it'll be a little bit of a learning curve, but we're all here to help out, and we thank you for serving.
Thank you.
Amen.
You've been doing it a lot longer.
Any other good news? Joyce?
So I received an email this past week from the captain of the Unified Track Team, Alton McCain, and he asked me to share some of the results they competed at sectionals last week at Durfee High School. So after speaking with the chair, Kevin, back then, I invited Alton to come to the meeting and share the results himself. But he declined that invitation and asked me to go ahead and share. So if it's okay with you, I promise it'll be quick. Could I just share a list of the athletes who competed that day?
Is this okay with Emma?
Yes,
Okay.
I don't have anything about that, so say
All right.
all you would like.
Well,
I'd
and
love
this
to
one,
hear.
and yeah, so and this is directly from Alton.
Okay. You didn't intimidate him, did you?
In absolute no way, and I wish he had accepted my invitation.
That would have been wonderful.
I would have loved to have had him here tonight, yes. So they finished overall in Division I, so they got bumped up to Division I this year after being the state champ last year in Division II. So they scored a total of 119 points, and the athletes who competed were Morgan Aguilar, Amani Black Gomes, Michael Clements, Antonio Colon, Jordan Elwood, Michael Enos, Jonathan Greenfield, Owen Harridan, Madeline Kiselis, Isaac Lang, Damian Leap, Jacob Lincoln, Tyler McIver, Justin Maxim, Alton McCain, Bryson Mobilia, Sophia Nascimento, Kyla Ormsby, Jacob Pitsley, Karen Ray, Brooke Roy, Jack Solich, Gloria St. Fort Renee, and Jennifer Viveros. And I would just like to point out that the 4x100 relay team of Antonio Colon, Brooke Roy, Jordan Elwood, and Alton McCain set a PR for the program. So they've had Unified Track since 2017. They ran that relay in a minute flat, which was a PR for that team. And they're just now looking forward to going to states next week at Natick High School. So thank you for allowing me to read that, and thank you to Alton for sharing that with us.
Now, can I assume that the wonderful Megan Kashner is still their coach?
She is still their coach.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Yep.
I guess I'm a little biased, but I think the coach should be recognized.
Well, I'm sure she'll appreciate that you did that. Yes.
All right. Yes, you did have your hand
I
up.
did indeed, yes. I hope you've noticed out on Marion Road, we have 2 new flashing 20-mile-per-hour school zone signs on Marion Road. This is, thank you to Eric Trahan for that. They were, the original school zone signs had been out there for decades, and they were no longer functioning correctly. Fortunately, he was able to get the signs and get them replaced, and please notice them because they're very helpful to Kevin Welch, who directs traffic there in the morning as the kids are coming to school.
Yeah, Mr. Welch deserves some credit. There's some risk associated with that responsibility, and those signs help. Shame on me for not knowing this, but is there a legal requirement that they be functioning? Were we in fact not in compliance by not having
I don't think we were not in compliance. I think the flashing portion of it is just to help to draw our attention. I don't think it's required.
Okay.
Because I'd been working on this since I got here, and it was very challenging to get the signs replaced and get them in there, but we finally got it done.
I guess I could ask for details about why it was so challenging, but I won't. You'll be happy to know. And kudos to Eric for making it happen.
Absolutely.
Okay. Anything else?
That's all I have.
That's all your good news?
Yeah.
Okay. We actually have, Emma shows up later in the agenda, so we now have the privilege of having the Onset Bay Association with us. So please, come on up. Oh, you're accompanied by Sue Tabor.
A whole table.
Make sure the mics are on, please.
Testing, testing.
My light is on.
Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, so I think we wanted to come here and present what we've been doing and hopes for the future of what to continue doing with Wareham Public Schools. So the Buzzards Bay Coalition has been operating the Onset Bay Center now since 2020. The Buzzards Bay Coalition, if you're not sure who we are, has a clear mission, which is safeguarding Buzzards Bay watershed, which is basically the big bay of water from Little Compton, Rhode Island, all the way around New Bedford, Marion, to Wareham, down to Woods Hole and the Elizabethan Islands and parts of Martha's Vineyard, keeping that water clean, safe, the water from the lands that drain into the bay as well. We do that in a variety of ways, from advocacy to science to land protection, and then to our department, the Outdoor Exploration Department, which opens access, runs programs, gets people so they're doing something on the bay, around the bay, that might make them want to look after the bay by having those great experiences. And at the Onset Bay Center, we've been doing that since 2020 in a variety of ways, but I'm going to pass over to Angie Weldon, the Director of Onset Bay Center, to talk a little bit about some of those programs at the Onset Bay Center.
Yeah, thank you. We're really excited to be able to be here today and just present again, like Stuart said, some of the things that we have going on and then what we're looking for going forward. So as Stuart said, the Onset Bay Center is really our flagship operation for our outdoor exploration programs centered here in Wareham. So we really wanted to focus on ensuring that there's access to our beautiful bay and the natural environment that we have here in Wareham. That some may not get to experience because of different barriers or challenges. So through a variety of different programs on the water, real high quality sailing, kayaking, paddling, rowing, fishing, shellfishing, anything that you can do on or around the bay are activities that we focus on. While we are focused on the Wareham community at large, all different members of our community, we have a big focus on youth in Wareham. So with our summer camps, our after-school programs, our field trip programs, and other one-off activities that we have going on year-round, we really strive to get as many Wareham youth and community members, family members into our programs as possible.
Yeah. As well as having scholarships available specifically targeting Wareham kids for our summer camp programs, as well as opening up registration to Wareham first for all our summer camp programs. We have a real focus of this center being for Wareham and not just the general southeastern Massachusetts public. Some of the ways we've been trying to do that with partnerships and field trips for Wareham Public Schools is recently, over the last 2 years, we got a grant from NOAA, a watershed, specifically called a MIWE, Meaningful Watershed Educational Experiences grant from NOAA, that we've been working with the elementary, middle, and high school surrounding doing different programs. For instance, including seeing all 6th and 7th graders, so 272 students have participated in one fall and one spring field trip at the Onset Bay Center. And that means taking the kids out on a boat, first and foremost, using our Bufflehead, our launch, to transport kids around Onset Bay to Wickets Island and Burgess Point to do things like shellfishing, crabbing, erosion, an erosion program looking at the erosion happening on Wickets Island and different ways they might think to help with that. Also looking at tide pools and, just a fun experience on the bay, but also doing things like water quality testing. And the water quality, you'll be glad to know the water quality in Onset Bay is phenomenal specifically probably because of your wastewater treatment in Wareham that a lot of towns around the bay don't have. So those are things kids got to see and dissect for themselves, which is a fantastic experience. And literally, we had kids today. That's why Angie and I are in shorts and flip-flops. We had kids today on boats, and at least we took 4 boats of about 70 odd children came today. And they, at least out of every boat of 18 kids, at least 3 or 4, it was their first time ever on a boat. So those kind of experiences we're hoping really builds memory for a lifetime of these kinds of activities. But not only have we seen those students, and also part of that grant that not only helped us cover our own costs with staffing and equipment and facilities, we passed a lot of the costs that would typically be at a school's expense, like transportation. We covered that cost with this grant. We built into this grant to cover the bus transportation for the schools. We covered it. We put into that grant. I think we wrote it down here. We've given $7,000 out of that grant directly back to the schools' teachers for student materials, and purchase a lot of materials after talking to the teachers what they need to run pre lessons for our programs. What supplies could help you do that? We bought those supplies using this grant money, and teachers came to the Onset Bay Center and picked those up in droves with their vehicles. We also paid over $25,000 to teachers, compensating them for their time with professional development. And have ran around 20 total participants doing 32 hours of professional development designed with the superintendent's office, the assistant superintendent, specifically worked with and built this into their professional development, which was a fantastic program to build that connection and allow those trips to happen. And maybe I can pass to Sue to talk about that.
So for the last 2 years, we've had 10 ambassadors each year from the middle school and the high school that went through the program. This year, we had an additional 10, and then last year's ambassadors were so invested in what they were building forward with lessons that they came back on their time to continue those. And now at the middle school, we have lessons that lead up to, we've got lessons that are leading out of, we've got 5th grade teams that have built erosion lessons that are going on field trips in this spring. We have 3 more this week, and then 3 more even still going out on a regular basis. And the kids today, I was there as part of it, were hands busy for 2.5 hours, 3 hours, and they all just wanted to go back after lunch. Can we just go back out? It's been amazing, but we've brought it into our curriculum. We've aligned it with what the state has us do, and we've begun to make those connections between what our town has and what we have to teach, and made it very applicable to the two.
Yeah. And I think looking forward, this is something that NOAA grant, unfortunately, is dries up this year. In June, we get our last amount from it, and we're not going to get another one. NOAA won't give grants out for the same location twice, not quickly anyway. So we won't have that grant anymore. But I want to give a commitment to you and to Wareham Public Schools that we will. I never want the cost of these programs going on to the students coming to the school or being passed along in that way. So whatever we need to do to make sure we can keep offering these programs, we'll look for ways to support transportation. That one's going to be hard for us. Obviously, we need to raise funds for a lot of different efforts at the Buzzards Bay Coalition. But we will endeavor to never pass those costs along to Wareham kids coming from Wareham Public Schools for these programs. We also have, let me pass back to Angie just to talk about, we've had a partnership with the Office of Beyond School Time for a long time.
Yeah, we're really fortunate to be so connected to the school systems here in Wareham, and gives us a lot of opportunities to connect directly with students, with teachers through our professional development, and with families. So in partnership with the Office of Beyond School Time, we've been able to offer a bi-monthly playgroup series for young children about ages 2 to 6, getting to come to us twice monthly, doing different activities on and around the Bay. That is now, I think, in its 3rd season of getting to do that. So very excited to get some very young ones into the center and be able to do activities with us. Likewise, the Wareham Elementary and Middle School and High School care and sail programs, they join us in the summertime for different field trips that are happening, coming to us with a group of 10 from the care program and 10 from the sail program to do different activities throughout the summertime during their weeks that they are in session. After school clubs we have running in the fall and in the spring, our Bay Explorers, which is our everything program, get to sample all the activities that we do. Our boat building group, we actually now are working with the former Wareham High School woodshop teacher is continuing to help us to do our boat building activity, getting kids into building different boats and using woodworking skills and different tools. And our Waterfront Training Academy after school program that also extends into the summer, where we are taking young leaders who are interested in some of the skills that we're teaching and being able to pass that on to younger kids that they might be working with or gain their own skills so that they can go on to be employed either by us or similar organizations, all centered around being outside and by the water. We also are fortunate outside of the Office of Beyond School Time to be able to partner with a couple other different facets of the school, including the Summer Eats program. Last year we were fortunate enough to be able to partner with Wareham Food Services to offer free breakfast and lunch to our summer camp programs, and we'll be doing the same again this year. That was a huge offering that we were really excited about last year, being able to eliminate the barrier of anyone who is not able to provide their own food for breakfast and lunch to kids who are coming into the programs. We've also been able to join different activities such as the kindergarten rally, the STEAM fair, and have also been able to do field trips outside of our NOAA BWET program, particularly with Wareham High School classes, including science and art classes, and the culinary students that are at the high school, and as well as we have some kindergartners who are going to be joining us for a field trip in a couple of weeks too.
Yeah. And I think I'm hoping you can see that what we've really tried to do at the Onset Bay Center is build it into a community-centered facility for offering these programs. And in a way, if you know C-Lab in New Bedford as a similar, ran entirely by the public schools department in New Bedford, but in a similar way, that's how we see the Onset Bay Center, in being a consistent offering for built into the curriculum, part of a full grade option of activities that can, where maybe we agree with the schools at each system or each grade, a trip that always comes. We build it into the curriculum. We have pre and post lessons. We support the teachers in making that happen, and we support the cost of it happening so the schools aren't hit by that cost, because of the benefit to the kids outweighs any cost. Yeah. Thank you.
All set?
Yeah.
Anybody have questions? Joyce?
Well, first, I just want to say thank you so much for being here. Thank you to the former chair for inviting them. After having a conversation with Sue Tabor, I really wanted you all to be here. We're so fortunate as a community to have you in town, and now we can see, what a big asset you are to the kids in the school. So thank you for everything. The kids are really fortunate that they have these, and the teachers are so fortunate to have these opportunities. You're clearly very excited. I did a program at the Buzzards Bay Coalition last year. It was great. It's a huge asset to the community. So I'm glad you were able to come tonight and share that so now everyone can see what you're doing in all of the schools. So thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to say, I work in Onset, and my window where I'm at faces the center, so I see all of the kids from various towns, and there's always anyone walking back. The kids are always happy and talking and laughing. I've never seen a miserable group leaving. So I can definitely tell that what you guys are doing, they're like excited to still talk about it on the way back to the bus or to the various vehicles. So it is really cool to see like how they continue to be excited about what they just did and leaving the center and going there. So I like that I get to watch that all summer with you guys. So thank you for doing this for the school. And hopefully new grants will pop up, so.
All set? Kevin?
While we're on the thank you tour, I do want to thank you for providing experiential education opportunities for students and for staff in our school system. And we're a seaside community. We should appreciate the resources we have, and you're opening up opportunities for that for kids, like you said, never been on a boat before, or probably never shellfished or whatever it is. So thank you very much. Anything that gets our kids outside is a plus in my book. So thanks a lot.
Okay.
Just thank you for what you guys are doing, and I do hope you find some way to get some funding.
Emma, you good?
I think everything you said was great, and I love hearing about it. These hands-on experiences are really great, and as a kid in the high school, not quite as young as what you work with most of the time, but getting those experiences really can be life-changing and show you what you love and give you a passion to pursue. So it's really exciting to hear how much you guys work with the kids, and I think it will definitely, you'll see that it's really worth it to them. So thank you guys for everything you do, and I hope you get to keep working with us a lot. It's exciting.
Thank you.
So there's so much going on at the federal and the state level. Is it impacting, at this point, your ability to serve the community?
There's worry, absolutely. There's levels there of worry. For a long time, we had a DESE grant that covered our care and sale program costs, as well as a lot of our after-school program costs. Unfortunately, we weren't successful in getting that again. They moved to a MAP, Massachusetts After School Programs. They moved the grant application process somewhere else, and now that's unfortunately dried up as well. But we're committed to doing various different initiatives to bring money in to the center to offset those costs. So that you might see the Onset Bay Center is available for weddings and private parties. That's not what we want to use the center for. That is a way to bring revenue in to cover the cost of doing programs like this. That's why Angie and I are cleaning floors before weddings sometimes, so that we can bring revenue in for that. And then we continue to strive. There are grants out there, but it's worrying in environmental education, looking for places for grants right now at a federal level.
Don't apologize for using it for that. The Mattapoisett Y has a very different mission, but they use it for a lot of weddings as well. So, and I apologize for my stupid phone. So it's all good. Is there anything the school district, since you seem to do so much for us, could do for you?
I think we would love to have a real commitment in maybe coming up with a program where grades do come to us always. So one of the things that we have with C-Lab in New Bedford is every 5th and 6th grader comes to us in some way, whether it's meeting us at East Beach and doing shell bingo with the 5th graders, or whether or now the 6th graders, we will see all 6th graders aboard Schooner Ernestina Morrissey, the state tool ship, for a day trip program out on Buzzards Bay. I'd love to set that up with the schools where we agree certain grades that make sense, whether it's an elementary grade that meets us on the beach and does some programs right at the center, a middle school grades that we do very similar to what we've just done, where we take them to wickets and do shell fishing. And then we have done high school programming where it's more focused on team building and sort of the life skills around leadership and problem solving, but using our activities to help develop those. I would just love there to be a point where we see one grade in elementary, 1 or 2 grades in middle, 1 grade in high school, always, consistently, and the costs surrounding that, including the bus transportation, any increased costs around the teachers' needs for planning and prepping those lessons with us, could be covered by the school system.
Well, you've got the superintendent and all 3 principals, in the room, so I'm sure they were listening.
Okay.
Anything else? Well, many thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, is there any member of the public who would like to speak to the committee? Yes.
Hey, how are you guys?
Good, welcome.
My name's Marilyn Morley. I'm a para.
Would you repeat that in front of the microphone? Thank you.
My name's Marilyn Morley. I'm a para at Wareham Elementary School, but I also have a child that goes to the middle school. You guys know we're working out our contract right now. I don't care about my raise at all, if I get one ever, honestly. I worry about what's best for the kids in the future, like when I'm a teacher and not even in this position. So I know that we don't cost a lot of money to employ, so we're easy to replace, like in any business. But it shouldn't be that way for paras. They're the second step from the teacher. They're not talking to the parents, doing the emails, setting up the curriculum. They're providing everything that they need. They're doing the teaching. They're diapering kids. Sometimes they're helping change kids, my kid's age, who's in the middle school, because they have needs that are different. I don't want there to ever be a day where my son goes into school and doesn't recognize the people in his classroom. But that's what's going to happen. And it's going to happen maybe when my kid's not even in the school anymore. It's going to happen. And it's not just my kid. It's all of the special ed kids. There's so many kids in our district that don't even talk. That can't communicate at all, not even nonverbal communication. If we have an emergency and that teacher isn't in that classroom that day, Are they going to go to somebody they don't recognize? Because that's who's going to be in their room, just people they don't recognize, because it's easy to replace us, which is unfortunate because, like I said, take me off the table. They're the most important people in the building next to teachers. They're who kids will go to in the hallway. They come to me in the hallway. If I'm just going to the bathroom, they'll come to us in the hallway because we're the safe people. You want the most safe and reliable people in your building. You don't want it to be a job anyone can do. You want experienced, professional people who are willing to protect and advocate and help these kids no matter what. Not just the 8 or the 20 they have in their classroom. You want people who feel responsible for every child in that entire building. I want my child to feel safe, but I know him, and I know if that school is on fire, he's not going to somebody he doesn't know. He might be under a desk. The safety awareness doesn't match a lot of the general education kids, and people don't want to hear it, but it's true. So I'd rather come here and beg you to treat paras with as much respect as you do the teachers at least, because we will be the ones saving these little kids that can't talk. They'll recognize me and they'll come to me. They'll go to them. Because we show up every day, not for a paycheck. I love the kids in this town. I love this town. I've lived here my whole entire life. You guys know that the kids need support. They need good support, not easily replaceable support. We don't want strangers in our classrooms. You want people that you can trust, but you're not going to get it if you're paying them like they're a cook at Burger King. They're not replaceable. I don't want them to be replaced in my son's classroom, but they're not here today because they're at work. I'm so tired. I'm so tired, but I don't have to go to another job. I'm one of the lucky ones. I'm only lucky, not the rest of them. Please think about it. It's so important. It's important to every kid in this district, not just mine. And I don't care about my raise. I don't care about my wallet. I want to be teaching in 5 years and recognize the staff that's in my room. I want to know that the people I'm working with weren't hired yesterday.
I apologize. I have to ask you to conclude.
Thank you for listening.
No,
Have a good night.
no,
Thank you.
thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Okay, the next item on the agenda relates to payment procedure appointments. It turns out that by law, any bill or payroll warrant has to be approved by the school committee, and there have to be people designated to do that. I believe I'm accurate in saying that the school chair is automatically one of those people, so we're really talking about one additional person. Is that a correct statement? Yes, I understand.
That's correct. One of them is for the bill warrants and one is for payroll. Correct. And the bill warrants, the chair is usually the one who signs.
Right.
That's correct.
Does the chair also have to be included in the vote? Meaning approved as a part of?
Yes.
Yes, that's, okay, good. So I will accept a nomination, a volunteer, to be one of the alternate for the payroll warrant and the alternate for the bill warrant.
Could I just, maybe you're going to say the same thing?
Designate, one designate, 2 alternates for each one.
So is it?
Two alternates.
The chair is the designee, and according to the policy, the vice chair and the secretary are the 2 alternates. So we're just
Okay.
voting to affirm that?
That makes it easy. Okay, I'll take a motion to that effect,
So moved.
So that's for the bill warrant or for both?
for both.
Just with the stipulation that I can't be on the payroll warrant because of a conflict of interest?
Correct. And I was going to mention, and there will be a time, not often, where I'll have a conflict as well, and that's why we have alternates. Okay, so I have a motion to make the chair
the primary and to make Joyce and Kevin the alternate designees for both the bill and the payroll warrants. Any discussion, any concerns, any
Need a
confusion?
second, right?
Yes, we do need a second. Would you like to be the second?
I was the
made the
Oh,
first.
you made the first.
I'll second.
Yes, that works. Okay. Any further discussion? All good? No confusion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstain? 500. All right, moving on to the student representative report, and I would add, it's our last student representative report. Many thanks for your efforts on behalf of the students, and we are the beneficiaries.
Thank you. I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here at all these meetings. You guys have been great, so it's bittersweet for sure. I have a couple things on here, so bear with me. To start with sports, right now we have boys baseball at 8-8, girls softball at 17-1, boys tennis 13-4, girls tennis 8-8, boys track 1-3, girls track 3-2. And I apologize, I don't know if this score is correct. The co-ed unified track teams, on the website it says 0-0. I assume that's not the correct score, but that's the number that I saw there. And I know that some senior nights track had their senior night, and I think the rest of the senior nights are coming up shortly. So that's always exciting for the students. On to the other items. Just today, JROTC partnered with the Onset VFW to emplace flags and poppies at grave sites and monuments for Wareham veterans. They were at local cemeteries to do this in preparation for Memorial Day. Prom took place this Saturday at the Cape Club in Falmouth. Students had a great time. They were dancing and taking pictures at the photo booth. It was really fun for everyone. I was there, and I had the opportunity to do a lot of the behind-the-scenes work both this year and last year, and it was just really exciting to see it all come to fruition. Everyone had a great time. Last week, JROTC again conducted its semi-annual landscaping at the Kendrick Veterans Home. And then Mary Jane Alford was recognized at as Wareham High's Student of the Year at the Wareham New Bedford Elks Club, where it was their Student of the Year banquet, and all of the Wareham students who received Student of the Month were invited to be at the banquet, and Mary Jane Alford had the chance to meet with the state senator, so that was exciting. There's a picture of that up on the Instagram. Last week, Captain Mickey Bird gave Miss Katarius and Miss Kashner's classes a hands-on tour of the Main Street Fire Station, so kids had a lot of fun with that. Girls basketball has a summer camp from July 21st through the 24th for grades 6 through 8, and it's for all towns. $50 to participate for the 4 days, so that's an exciting chance to get kids involved. The spring concert for Wareham High School will take place on May 22nd at 6 p.m. The admission is free, and it's a great chance to see the music that the program is putting together, and it's their final concert of the year. They always do kind of a big send-off to the seniors, and it's always a really, really great sight to see. I got a little teary-eyed last year watching. And then Wareham High School will be performing Ride the Cyclone, the high school edition, on the 30th and 31st of May at 6:30, and then on June 1st at 2 o'clock. The book, music, and lyrics are all created by Wareham High School students, and kids have been working hard to put that together. The annual art show was a success. I believe 2 weeks ago now, there was a plethora of students' work that was showcased throughout the halls for guests to view, come and do a walkthrough. Culinary provided snacks, jazz band performed their music, the Viking Theater Company performed snippets from their upcoming play, and National Honor Society provided face painting, and Poetry Club had poetry creation while they were there, so kids could make poetry. So that's really exciting to see a lot of clubs come together like that and have a moment with the community. Miss Giuffrida's botany class had a chance recently to explore the marsh outside of Wareham High School. It was part of their invasive species lesson. During their trip, they found a baby turtle, and that was brought back to the zoology class to care for. I'm sure Mr. Burial is very excited. And my last item, at the beginning of this month, the AP Government, U.S. History, and JROTC students attended the annual Law Day celebration at Plymouth County Courthouse, local judicial leaders spoke, students participated in a mock trial, and they had a chance to see exhibits about the courthouse's functions. So I know there's a lot here, but it is winding down for the year at the high school. It's sad to see all the seniors going soon, but Wareham has kept us all on our toes this year and given us a lot to enjoy. So thank you guys for all your time this year.
Our pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Emma.
Any questions for Emma?
Oh, and I'm sorry, I should mention, I wasn't here last week because of it. DECA had a great time at the international level of competition in Orlando, Florida. There were 2 kids that competed, and the other 11 that attended were on leadership, and it was a really great opportunity for everyone. I'm grateful to have been able to go, and I can say firsthand that it was an amazing experience, and DECA soon after had a job and internship fair field trip that was great for kids as well. So sorry, that wasn't on my list, but those were 2 great other things.
All set?
Yeah, I just want to thank Emma for her work all year, and you can keep your nameplate in front of you as a souvenir of your time with us.
Appreciate it. Very exciting. Thank you, guys.
And good luck next year.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited.
Speaking only for myself, when we approved the Poetry Club, I had no idea it was going to be such an active club.
Yeah, I've been excited to see. I'm sad I did want to be part of it more, but my schedule is just so packed. But I always see Google Classroom posts. They're always up to something, competitions or local contests, participating in club events, and being in the community. They've been all over the place, and it's really great to see it kind of just take off the way that it did.
By the way, a Wareham High School graduate is an assistant district attorney at the Plymouth Courthouse.
I did not know that.
Yes.
That's so cool. What are the chances? They were just there.
Okay, I think it's time for handbooks. Is it accurate? Principals, feel free to come on up in whatever order you like. You can present. But before we do that, let's briefly talk about the district, because I don't think there's too much to talk about at the district level. Am I accurate to say that the policies that are listed and updated in the district handbook are things that April has already presented to us?
Those are the ones that we approved as a
We have already
committee that were
approved them.
reviewed. It's just to have the updated policies from policy review updated in the
Exactly.
district handbook.
So
Yep.
no work to be done for all those things, because we've already seen them and approved them.
That is correct.
Okay. And we're also talking about removing something that was redundant.
Right, there's a couple of pieces that were redundant, that were in there twice, so just taking that out, cleaning that up, updating things like, the school year date, staff and school committee and things of that nature. But generally, minimal changes, nothing major. That's
Okay,
correct.
I think we probably should vote individually on these handbooks. So I think technically we need to approve the district handbook with the administrative updates that we just spoke about. So I'll take a motion to...
So moved.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second?
Second. Any questions, discussions? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? 500. Thank you. Who would like to go first? Scott, you got it.
You guys all right with that?
By all means.
It was listed in that order anyway.
That's true.
So, thank you. Thank you for allowing us to present tonight. We have minimal changes in the handbook, and I think you're going to hear a lot of the themes with all of us in regards to just updating dates, calendars, et cetera. So our first change, table of contents, is always a moving document as we add things, delete things. So that's one change. School contact information specifically, we put in a new phone system last year, and we have, unfortunately, we could not use 711. So the nurse has a new number, and we have some updated counselor information. Page 5, we've added the new school calendar. Page 6, we've updated the terms. Page 7, we just made a minor change to the PM2, is now called the PASS program. That changed a couple of years ago anyway. Lockers, we have gone to request because we were handing out locker combinations and locker numbers, and not everyone was using them. So we went to the request, and it's worked out real well. On page 9 in grading, we just added the NCR, and what that means is no credit recovery if they miss too many days. We have a couple changes to the description of the library. That's on page 11. Also on page 11 is the technology charges have changed specifically for the Chromebook with the charger and the touchpad, just some increasing costs of technology, so that had to be adjusted. State testing, state and standardized testing, we have a new website for College Board. And we also have a new MCAS for grade 8 civics, so we added that date. We have dates for all MCAS we add in there. And one thing we did was we had in-school suspension listed twice in the handbook, so kind of like what you saw with the district, we kind of cleaned up that redundancy. It's actually now on page 27. A few years ago, due to budget cuts, we had to get rid of Saturday detention, so we finally are getting to remove that from the discipline code under discipline code B. Some added information to the in-school suspension. We kind of just kept the one description on page 27 with a little addition. And on page 28, we have a new alternative to suspension program called the PASS program, which we've been very excited about all year. We had over 20 students attend the program, and this is in lieu of a suspension. It's a half-day therapy and a half-day academic. They go down for anywhere from 3 to 5 days, and we're very fortunate that our transportation has one spot on a bus that they go down to the collaborative with, so we're able to utilize transportation. So that takes a huge barrier away. We would never be able to do it without transportation, and Marie Ferrer has been awesome supporting our students. So again, those kids are not counted as absent, and they're not counted as a discipline. So think about that, 20 kids, that's roughly, by the time we're all said and done, close to 100 days, because most of them go down there for 5 days. And as one of my department heads said, it's also diesel therapy on the way down and way back. Gets them thinking about, doing the right thing. And we've only had one kid out of the 20 have a second issue after going down there, so pretty good rate for us. So we're pretty excited about that. Cell phone policy, we're actually just moving that policy to page 40. That is the same policy as we had in place last year, so just moving that to a different page where it seemed to make more sense. And unfortunately, we no longer allow bus passes, so we had to remove that language. Back probably, 10, 15 years ago, we had bus passes and they could pick them up at the end of the day, and a lot of kids would go to the Y and take the bus there. But unfortunately, because we barely have enough drivers for the students' needs, we just can't add to that bus or any other bus for that matter. We have some language on the parking permits, extracurricular activity language, specifically eligibility, and just clarifying our school council really wanted to see some clarification on the seasons and how the students would be eligible for those seasons. And then we have 3 new clubs that, 2 that are brand new, one that's a little bit old, just needed to be updated in the handbook. And I would be remiss if I didn't thank our school council, our student council, our student advisory council, our site-based management group on handbook changes, and our advisory rep students, who all played a major role in making changes. And I'd also like to recognize Charlene Deneen, who changed the format and put it in Canva, and I think it's much more aesthetically pleasing than our old document, so I want to thank her for doing the work on that. And I don't know if you want to hold questions till the end or how you want to do it, but that's my presentation.
Take the questions now,
Okay,
because we want to vote separately.
fair enough.
Any questions for Mr. Palladino? Yes, Joyce.
So I have had this conversation in a school council meeting, but I just have a couple of questions. The Chromebook prices, I didn't look across. Are they set by the district?
Correct.
So those changes are the same changes for
Correct.
everybody? Okay. The cell phone policy, I know you said the policy isn't changing, but is the way that you enforce it changing?
It's more the procedure is going to
Okay.
change a little bit in regards to using the cabinets a lot more.
Okay, so maybe that's a discussion for another day.
Sure.
Because, I just don't want to take time up now. I mean, the policy is staying the same.
Correct.
Okay.
Oh, but I think as long as you raise that, can you quickly talk about the procedure changes?
Sure. So this year, there was more of a focus of the cell phones being away. And in the first half of the year, and I'm sure Emma can speak to it as well, was great. And it wasn't really, like, the cabinets were there, were utilized by some kids if they wanted to use them. Some teachers pushed it a little more than others. And we're going to just be pushing. What happened the second half of the year is all of a sudden, there's not as many phones in the cabinets, and now they're starting to find their way out into the hallways. So it's way better than it was last year, but I think we just need to stick with this was the plan, this is the plan. I mean, we don't want to fight kids over cell phones. That's not what we got an education for. But at the same point in time, if they're a distraction to learning, that's an issue. And they've started to, it's not a huge issue, but they've started to find their way into the hallways during lavatory breaks in the middle of class.
So you're going to insist that they go in the cabinets?
Correct.
Okay.
I think that's smart.
It is, but again, you know, we don't want this to take 10 minutes at the beginning of every class. So we're working on following the procedure.
Emma, do you have any thoughts on the cell phone policy now that you've experienced it for most of the year? And can say with impunity what you really think?
I think, especially at the start of the year, you did see how it was put in place, and I think it worked well, and I think a lot of kids came to say that it wasn't as bad as they thought it would be. It's definitely changed for kids, especially from what the past kind of procedures were, but I think that you can see the difference this year, and kind of enforcing it more next year, you'll see the difference again, and I think it will have the outcome that you want if the phones are away, the kids are more engaged in class, and I think it'll be good moving forward.
Joyce, you all set?
I was just going to say something else that was brought up, I think, by you, was that the phones, if they're in the backpacks, if the room were to be evacuated for any reason, the backpack would stay, but the cabinet with the phones would go, so the kids would have their phones. And
Right.
Yeah.
Right. We cannot, for a fire drill, if we're doing an evacuation for an Alice drill, you know, we just can't, you know, you think of those backpacks are like having two people for, you know, every one person as far as space that they take up in the hallway. So the procedure is that they have to leave those in the classroom. And if their cell phone happens to be in there, unfortunately, they're not going to have access to it. So the idea is all the cabinets are mounted near the door, and they're literally basically like a large briefcase, and the teacher can lift them up, and it's like they're on a wall like a frame, lift it up, it has a handle, and they're carried out. So everyone will have access, the parents will be able to
Right.
speak to their children if there's ever a situation. They won't be stuck in the classroom, locked in a room with, inside a backpack.
Got it. Kevin, did you have your hand up?
No, it was answered.
Okay. April, all good?
Good.
All good? Thank you. I'll take a motion to approve the high school handbook with as the
So
changes are outlined. I have a motion. Do I have a second, please?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? 500.
Thank you.
Jason?
Middle school. Again, I would like to thank my school council and my staff who review the handbook each year, and we make changes as needed. Extensions have been changed and updated. Table of contents, just updated as needed. Page 1, we've updated some staff and extensions, the school calendar, the terms. We had one table of contents that just needed to be changed. We also added school personnel will not investigate cases of lost or stolen personal property. We had an exorbitant amount of students that have lost their little tiny AirPods this year. We don't allow them in school. We don't believe they should be in school. We don't ask for them to be in school, and we're not investigating when they get lost. Typically, when they're lost, it's the child that has misplaced them. I don't have the staff to investigate where those iPods are. So that was the reason for that. Page 34, the Chromebook pricing was updated. We don't offer hotspot replacement anymore, so we're deleting that. Page 38, there was an addition. We just wanted to make sure it said including vapes. It just wasn't specific enough for us. Page 41, the table of contents was just changed to match that. Page 61, we changed the year for the homeschool compact, and page 62, we changed the first day of school and the parent signature in the handbook. Questions, concerns?
Just to follow up on the no investigation. So you're saying that any personal property of any value, I get that you don't want them bringing those electronic
Yeah.
devices and stuff, but what if it's a pair of new Nike sneakers or something that missing out of gym class?
Yeah, I mean,
or something, a jacket or a backpack?
yeah, I mean, we'll investigate, but I don't have days. I mean, some parents are calling us to investigate for 5 days. I have the cameras. I could look for hours, but personal property, we're not, unless you saw someone steal it. You don't know how many times where parents have said they lost a jacket, but the jacket was in the car at home. Like, I can't possibly investigate all those situations. We have investigated where there was a phone and they said someone stole the phone outside my locker. And we've spent 5 hours looking at the video to try and find the phone. We will do that, but
But it says you won't do it.
well, I understand that, but we won't. Like, if I say that we're
Well,
going
you will or you won't. I don't know which one. I understand the problem.
Well,
I really
then no,
do.
we won't.
But-
I put we won't in there, and I won't. We just can't. There's no possible way with one person investigating 500 students. It's literally impossible to investigate that situation unless it was an altercation that happened in the classroom and it's reported to us. It's literally impossible to investigate. What would you like it see it
I don't
changed
know.
to?
I'm trying to think out loud.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be happy to change it, but I can't have parents expecting us to invest, like, literally, the AirPods were the situation this year.
Would there be a way to have it be that any personal property or lost is investigated at the discretion of the principal? Depending on what the circumstances surrounding it are?
Or what if you said something about the time, like, we can't,
At
I
the
know what you're saying, you already
discretion
got time
not to
crunch.
exceed however
So
much.
you
I don't know. I
spend
mean,
5 days
I'm
ever.
asking them not to bring their personal property into
Right.
school, and if they so choose, I think that happens a lot. If they so choose to bring it in, then you need to expect that it could get lost. I don't know.
I think the classic expression is bring personal property into the school at your own risk.
I mean, I will reasonably look into something, but if it's exceeding in a certain amount of time, so if you want me to put something about reasonable, I don't
So
know.
if they're in capital letters, they read that personal property brought into the school is brought at their own risk. And then you can say, we will take reasonable efforts to attempt to find it, but it's your risk, so you have to decide how important it is that they bring it in. So that would be my recommendation, not as a lawyer, but as someone who has worked with lawyers a lot over my career.
Well, I would be happy to do that. We were just getting a lot of slack for these. It was mostly the AirPods. And it happened to be that the child dropped the AirPod and it was lost underneath the counter of the, I mean, I don't know, but
But there's no reason to have an AirPod at school. There is a reason to have a backpack or something. That's all I'm saying. Like, and
yeah.
don't
I
know.
mean, those typically aren't the situations, but
Right.
yeah.
So then, right.
So
So
that would
unless-
allow you to make an exception like,
Yeah.
for a backpack that
Right,
did come,
yeah.
came at school. Because, yeah.
I don't know. How do you feel about editing based on the concept of they're bringing it at their own risk? If you don't, if I'm not married to that phrase. If you don't want to insert that, that's fine, and I can. But I
Even
think-
if, like Jeff's saying, at their own risk, but, and we cannot
yes,
guarantee any lengthy investigations
Yes,
on any
exactly.
issue, something like that.
Yeah.
That basically sends the same message, but
Yeah.
opens it up in case
Yeah.
you need to.
it's
I
not
did
saying
go
you-
back, sorry.
No,
I was
go
going to say,
ahead.
I did read the whole paragraph that this
Yeah.
is in. and
Yeah.
It is stated in that
Yeah.
paragraph, don't bring your valuables to school. So,
Yeah.
I would highlight it.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
the problem is, what's valuable, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, the sneaker example is, obviously, they can be very valuable, but you're not telling
But
kids.
it could be a picture of a kid and a deceased grandparent, and that could be a different level of valuable that could have been taken for taunting and investigate, you know, so I think by having it at your own risk and with a reasonable,
Yeah.
at the discretion of the principal, you know, investigation.
Yeah, something you can point back to a parent that say, look, it's in the handbook that we can't spend a great deal of time on this.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're so good at sending out newsletters, Tracy. Just
I try.
put it in a newsletter. You know, yeah.
I did put in a newsletter after we had
did?
multiple issues this year, and it seemed to die down.
Just put a giant AirPod with a big X on it and be like, no.
They're so small.
They're so tiny.
I don't think I would use the word valuable because one person's valuable is
It
somebody
is different,
else's.
yeah.
I think I would simply say personal property brought into the school is at their own risk.
Yeah.
Anyway, I would prefer to vote on this and get
Can
it
I just like rework that and send it to you, that one?
how about if we say, the motion, I'm recommending a motion, not making it. How about if the motion would say something like approved, with, allowing,
Yeah.
not pending, because that implies it's gonna come back, with the, allowance for the principal to make adjustments as necessary to the personal property issue.
So moved.
Second.
That works. Okay, any further discussion or comments, et cetera, questions? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500.
Thank you, School Committee. I present to you the Wareham Elementary Handbook changes. I would really like to send a big, big shout out and thank you to the school council. It is with their efforts that some of these changes have been made, along with the administration team and staff who have worked to look at each of the policies, both from our school and from the whole district. We're going to begin with recognizing that we have started a table of contents at the beginning of the handbook in the elementary. It used to be an index. Yeah, every year was an index, and this year, thank you, Adrian, one of our school committee members, has put it into a contents at the beginning. So we do have a table of contents at the beginning of the handbook. Going through some, page 5 is a district policy change. Page 9, district policy change. Page 15, you're going to see a change in, just for our school, the school council brought to my attention that the readability of our handbook is pretty high. So what we've done this year is try to put some graphics in with color to make just some policies stand out and make it more clear. So here we have in page 15 a school attendance policy. It's all of the same wording, but thank you, Ms. Stacy has put it into a graphical representation for our families to read about unexcused and excused absences and the difference.
I think that's a great idea.
Thank you. It was school council's idea. Page 22, this is what we have for the Chromebooks and our change of pricing that is district-wide. Page 38, district change. Page 64 is a retention policy change. That's district-wide from our policy committee, and changing some of the wording around our retention policy. However, in just the Wareham Elementary School handbook, we have added a paragraph that speaks to making sure that our students are making benchmark and grade level expectations each year, or that will result in summer programming and or retention. So that is an additional paragraph.
April?
I noticed that under the Chromebooks, I believe is the last part of the sentence that should be under kindergartners
Oh.
I don't know if it's in the, or just for this.
It's probably
part.
for the change part.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, April.
Oh, I was just making sure it wasn't going to be in the handbook that way.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Thank you.
That was the only thing I noticed. Thank you.
So that paragraph was added.
Yes, and I want to ask about it.
Okay.
But I applaud your efforts in putting it in.
Thank you.
Anybody else before I jump in on the added paragraph? So, first of all, thank you.
You're welcome.
And maybe I'm being too grammatical here, but when you say in the, let me ask you first of all, is this a NUIA? Are you guided by NUIA on whether they have achieved proficiency, or are you guided by MCAS for 3rd and 4th grade?
I'd be guided by NUIA because that would be each grade from K through 4.
Great, okay.
And
Even
since I
better,
do a
'cause you
lot
get-
more retention in kindergarten, 1st grade, and 2nd grade.
Yeah, exactly, and you get the results back, so
Yes.
all good. But I can't reconcile the use of the word must in the second sentence, and then in the final sentence, may. And
Okay.
we have to reconcile that, because otherwise you could drive a truck through this addition. And I want it to be what I think you intend. So how do we reconcile that?
Well,
Where do you see?
I think the intention of the may is, the intention of the may
May, okay.
is a result of availability for summer programming
But I understand from our superintendent that we've made progress in that area.
this year.
Oh,
But
yes.
I'm writing this policy everlasting. I mean, I could change every year. But I'm just thinking forward. That use of may is, there are circumstances in which it can't always be a must. It may be a may.
Well, but you have a must, okay?
Right.
And I actually don't want you to change the must, okay? I want to leave the must right where it is. And I would even go
54.
further than that.
Oh, in the
64.
And I would say that from a budget priority perspective,
Mine only
and you
says May,
won't be
I don't see
surprised that you hear me say this, but I think my colleague
No, I see the May, but I
next
thought
to
you
me
said
also agrees with this. From a budget priority
In a different
perspective,
part of the-
we have to have the summer program available. One way, it just has to exist, because we can't feed kids to Tracy and ultimately to Scott, who are just not prepared for their schools.
So Jeff, I'm happy to put a must there. I just want to, I did that not for me. I just did it for,
Well, I appreciate that.
in case
Appreciate
the
it. And it sounds
district
like
can't make it a
looks like this-
must.
Looks like the superintendent has a comment, so I'm happy to hear it.
Well, I think you could say, you don't have to use the word must, but students who do not meet grade level expectations will be referred to available summer programming. I think that's currently what.
Will be. That's what we're
Right,
doing.
What
No, but I don't
happens,
want that.
anyway.
But I don't want that. I like the
Different
must.
from must. They will, they must. What's the difference?
Oh, there's a big
I will
difference.
put either.
Well, you could also change the word must to shall, because shall.
Okay, shall works.
Shall, I like shall.
Shall works
Okay,
too.
well, by the way, must and shall grammatically have no distinction. They're the same.
But one just sounds nicer.
Yeah, shall.
I like
But
shall.
if we're saying that they have to pass, they have to show proficiency in order to go into the next grade, that's what you're saying right now, right? Isn't that what that says? Students must demonstrate proficiency in grade level
And
skills.
whether you make it must or shall, it still
Right.
says the same thing.
Before advancing to the next grade level. So once you say that, you've locked yourself in, I think.
Right. That,
And you've locked yourself in to the extent that they either get retained, not ideal, or that they take the summer program. And then it's our responsibility to make sure that they've achieved proficiency as a result of the summer program, right? So in a sense, we've taken on the burden of getting that proficiency, which they didn't get for whatever reason during the regular school year. So if we left, if you like shall
I like
works for
shall.
me. Okay, if we change must to shall, and then students
be.
who do not meet grade level expectations shall be referred to available summer that word available, to scratch available. I know I'm editing on the fly.
That's okay.
Okay, and my colleagues have to approve whatever I'm saying anyway. So maybe shall be referred to summer programming or be retained or be,
Considered for grade level retention.
or not considered, or be retained to the same grade level, to the existing grade level, whatever words you would like to use. That works, but I'm sure the superintendent has a thought.
I have a lot of thoughts, Jeff. So, retention, I don't know if you really want to tie the hands of the principal, where the policy says she absolutely must do something based on one piece of data. I don't know if that's a good idea. Retention is based on lots of things, and there can be reasons why it's not a good idea for a student who is not quite at grade level to not retrain, to move them on. It might be in the best interest of the child to move them along. So I don't think it's a good idea to tie the hands by saying the principal must do this.
So there's a lights retention scale that has several factors that principals look at of whether or not a child is a good candidate for retention. It includes age, size, if they have a sibling, if they've had preschool. There's various factors.
So
I think we just.
I don't want to tie, because that whole phrase bothers me, because I agree it's not a good idea. I don't want to tie the hands of a principal. But I want to send a message to parents that if you're not helping your kid achieve proficiency during the year, there are consequences. And one of the consequences could be retention, or it could be the requirement to attend summer programming. Now, in that sense, it's not tying their hands, because if they attend the summer programming and they don't achieve proficiency, then, well, that's our problem, and therefore it's in our hands to determine that. You could also modify what the definition of proficiency is. You could have a phrase in there based upon testing and the determinations of the teacher and administration. You could modify that language so it doesn't tie the hands. But I'm tying April's hands, so go for it, April.
I worry that by making that policy as, I understand what you're saying by that, but I also fear that by having it be that rigid, that you're opening up the door for people to school choice out of the district more readily.
Wow. That never occurred to me. Wow.
But I will change the may to shall.
I think the may to shall is the only change that we should make, because
But
that's.
it doesn't change the problem.
No.
The problem still exists.
But I think,
Let me
Jeff.
do this.
Okay.
I'm a firm believer that, and we are by definition a committee, that writing something with a committee is generally not a good idea.
Like brushing your teeth and eating Oreos at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. So how about if we throw this paragraph only back to you, okay? And you can come back to us with something that achieves the goal of making proficiency coming out of any grade level in your school critically important, and that absent that proficiency, however you want to define it, okay? Because NUIA, the good news about NUIA is it's three, correct?
Yes.
3 times they're taking NUIA. So they could theoretically have a problem the 3rd time, but have demonstrated proficiency in the 1st and 2nd, and you might say, bad day, okay? I'm not going to hold that against them.
But they could also be progressing from the very beginning of the NUIA until the end, but they're still not going to be at a grade level proficiency.
Right, and then it is certainly shouldn't be a paragraph or the school committee deciding whether that progression is good enough so that they're ready for the next
Right.
grade.
Right.
Okay? We don't want to be there, but we do want to send a strong message. So
We're working, so this paragraph has been added this year, and we'll
can we
continue
throw
to edit
that
it.
paragraph only back to you for the moment?
Absolutely.
Okay, is that good enough for the committee?
can't.
When do you need an answer by, though?
Right, yeah.
When does this handbook need to be, when do you need all the information to get it ready to go?
Yeah.
So this would have to be by our next meeting on the 29th, is that what we're saying?
That should be okay.
I don't know.
Yeah? Is
So
that
are we going to
reasonable?
hold voting on this policy, or,
No.
I mean, on this handbook, or just this part of the
We're
handbook?
going to delete this from the motion, okay? And allow it to be brought back at the next meeting to be added, because Jamie et al. Says that works logistically.
So we're gonna amend the motion to
There's no motion yet. We're
Oh,
going to make a motion.
make a motion to approve the handbook pending coming back with an
No.
updated paragraph?
We're gonna
I'm
make
just
a
trying to
mo-
clarify.
We're going to make a motion approving the handbook with the, how should we describe this paragraph? This added paragraph related to school retention deleted. Just delete it, and it can be brought back.
To be amended,
Yes,
okay.
Further amend, further.
yes, yeah. But we're just going to delete it for the moment.
So, motion to
Omit?
omit.
Jamie likes omit.
Okay, so motion to accept the Wareham Elementary changes with the omission of
I
the
haven't finished my handbook, though.
benchmark assessment.
Right, we haven't gotten to the end
I
yet.
haven't got to the end yet. I still have one more edit on the handbook.
Right.
Then I sit corrected. Please continue.
The final edit is one more graphical representation for families to look at of the recommended time per grade for homework. And it is in color.
Page 74.
You know what? I don't think I have that.
She handed it to you, it's right in front of you, in that corner, the last page. She printed it in color and everything.
Interesting.
Again, this is just so certain features of our handbook stand out to families.
Got it. Any questions other than what we've already talked about? Joyce?
I promise I won't ask about that. So this color homework table, was that in the previous handbook?
No, all the
This is a-
tables are new,
in
are changed.
addition
This is
to the
addition.
handbook,
Though
okay.
the wording hasn't changed, but the way in which we format it and the presentation has.
Okay. So my question is, are you finding that parents aren't spending enough time on homework? Is that why you're trying to highlight
Accent
that?
it, yes. I believe that we need to just recognize that homework is an important feature to the elementary school, and that there's just should be time allocated each night to complete homework.
Okay. I guess I just would say it's unfortunate that you have to point that out.
It goes along with the other policy, the shall,
Well-
the shall policy, is just making sure that, we're committed each and every day, all day, to our students' academic, social, and academic achievement.
So then that goes along with my other question about planned absences. So I think the handbook we're looking at is the new complete handbook, so I couldn't tell if this was an addition.
Okay.
Is this planned absence?
That's been
And
in the handbook for
It
some
has
time.
been, okay.
Mhm.
You're just highlighting it.
I'm highlighting
along
it,
with the
that it's not
chart.
excused.
Okay. Okay. So, because I was going to ask, well, how often do you get asked?
It's not as prevalent as it once was. I feel like that has, the planned absences have reduced, but they do exist. And there was a trend for a time being while I was a teacher, and that's why when this was added, I believe where families would ask teachers to do all of the pre-work during their planned absences, and that's why that was put in there, to
Okay.
get the work ahead of time.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? So, Tracy, if you were going to have homework time commitments like this, what would they look like for 5, 6, and 7? I'm not going to hold you to it, but I'm just curious.
Typically, we say there's about an hour and a half for fifth grade. In sixth grade, it increases a little, and in seventh grade, it's not a problem. But our children, many of them are overcommitted now outside of school, so it's really difficult to get everything in between 2 o'clock and 8 o'clock when they really should be winding down and going to bed. So,
So 30
but
to,
no more than 2 hours a night.
okay, but
in
30 to
seventh grade.
60 is a good start for what you're going to expect from them, which is
Oh
60.
yeah, definitely over an hour a night.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
I mean, and some nights are different. It just depends. And a lot of our teachers now are giving homework on Mondays and it's due on Friday, so that when you do have commitments during the week, that you can, as a family, figure out when you're going to do the homework.
Have you ever felt the need to have this kind of chart in your handbook?
Not necessarily. The teams meet with the parents at the beginning of the school year and explain their policies and what should be happening with homework. I think parents in the middle school wean away a little more and let their children, figure it out. And when it's not working, it shows up on progress reports and in Power School, so parents contact the teachers and there's a conversation about it. But I think when they're new, they're little to homework, it makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Anything else before I take April's motion, which she tried to make earlier?
Sorry. Do I need to make it again?
Sure.
Okay. Motion to accept the elementary school handbook with the omission of the added benchmark assessment paragraph.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion, comments? Yes.
So then the intention is to bring this paragraph back
At
to
the
this
next
As an
committee
amendment.
at the next meeting,
That's correct.
with the intention of softening this language where it doesn't tie the hands of the principal.
Yes.
Well, so I'm not sure I'm in love with the word softening.
Revising the language so it doesn't tie the hands of the principal.
I thought I was starting with May. Or make families flee the district.
But without changing the spirit of the benchmark assessment process.
May I try a revision right now?
Oh, I don't know.
Or am I going to go down a rabbit hole? We can
Have you
wait.
met Jeff?
Remember, I used may to begin with for the principal discretion.
I don't think this paragraph is far off. I think there's a couple word changes that could get us there.
Before you try, you know how much, and I think I can speak for Kevin. Kevin and I feel strongly about making sure that kids who get to Tracy are ready for Tracy, okay? And so if you're going to soften it to the point where we're going to have a problem with too many kids being unprepared for middle school, then I'm not going to fall in love with your attempt. Do you still want to make that attempt?
Sure.
I admire your courage. Go for it.
Okay. So starting with the sentence that says students in grade K through 4 must demonstrate.
Yes.
All right. So that's the word must there ties the hands of the principal, right? Okay.
Okay.
So I'm going to revise that sentence. It's going to say, it is the intent of Wareham Elementary School that students in grades K through 4 demonstrate proficiency in grade level skills and meet Mass DESE standards in reading, writing, and mathematics before advancing to the next grade level. Students who do not meet grade level expectations shall be referred to summer programming and will be considered for grade level retention.
Beautiful.
That
Mic
does not
drop.
tie our hands. That does not tie our hands, but I think it sends a message that you will be considered for retention.
So is that guaranteeing summer remediation for all kids who have not? Is that what you're saying?
It's guaranteeing that they will be referred to it.
Yeah.
Referred to summer programming, yes.
And what was the verb again? Or may be considered for grade
Will
level?
be considered.
Will be.
Will be considered for grade level retention.
Okay, first of all, I admire the language, okay? I still think you could probably drive a truck, as they say, through it, okay? But,
I don't think anyone's going to drive a truck through it. I think it's.
and I can guarantee you, I'm gonna ask for data, you know, at the end of this process, at the end of the year, to see how many kids, in fact, didn't meet proficiency, were referred to summer programming, but did not get retained and didn't go to summer programming.
I think that's fair information for you to be provided.
And you're comfortable with me asking for that data?
I have it, yes.
And what, you have it now?
Well, not right now, but it's a work in progress, absolutely. I
What's
can
your
tell you
guess- so
how many
this
were
is-
retained.
This is for next year, correct?
I'm in that,
Yeah.
for a boost, yeah, this policy is for next year in the handbook, correct? Because
Right.
this is 25-26
But
handbook.
have you essentially, are you essentially doing this year?
Yes,
Okay?
we're working for it.
And how many kids do you think are going to escape either summer school or retention?
I have 33 students being retained right now.
I'm sad to hear that, and how many are, that's 33?
Mm-hmm.
That's a big number.
That is a big number.
Wow.
Well,
Okay.
you've charged me making sure everybody is meeting benchmarks, and that's why we're having these
I just said
meetings.
it's a big number. I didn't
Yep.
say it was a mistake, believe me.
Yep.
Okay? And how many kids with the budget to support it
Mm-hmm.
are signing up for summer school?
So all of those students in which we met, remember the
Yes.
square?
Yes.
Every single student in that square has been invited to summer programming.
Okay. And how many have said they will attend?
Each grade ranges. Right now, I don't have the exact numbers. I
Forget
just,
about exact number.
I have,
90%, 95%?
in grade 1 to 2 it is,
Great.
but not my other grades,
Not your other grades?
not yet.
And so,
But it's just May, so I have until,
fair enough. But I assume your prediction is some of those third and fourth graders are not going to be retained and are not going to go to summer school. Is that a fair assumption?
it's a fair statement to say that they will be unavailable.
And some of them, it's probably fair to say that they were retained already.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, you're
I
not
hear you.
equating into this. I have some very older students in 5th and 6th grade because they've been retained already.
And do they have IEPs, 504s, nothing?
Some of
but
them,
Some, but not all?
no,
Wow. All right, it's not my decision, so we heard language from the superintendent.
I rescind my motion.
Okay, would you like to make another motion?
Yes, I would like to make a motion to approve this handbook with the amendment made by Dr. DeAndrea for this benchmark assessment paragraph.
Okay, so we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second, but could we just hear it one more time?
Sure. So again, starting with the
Whoa,
paragraph.
Jamie, do you have it? Okay, why don't we let Jamie read it?
I have it in his hand that
Ah, fine. Okay,
Jamie's my favorite person.
go ahead.
Okay, it is the intent of Wareham Elementary School that students in grades K through 4 demonstrate proficiency in grade level skills and meet Mass DESI standards in reading, writing, and mathematics before advancing to the next grade level. Students who do not meet grade level expectations shall be referred to summer programming and will be considered for grade level retention.
It doesn't tie your hands,
No,
which is a good thing.
but it sends a message.
I think it does, yeah.
and it's not rigid.
Okay, April has made the motion. It's been clarified for our vice chair now. Sake,
I would second.
and that's a second, and that's a second. Any further discussion?
I think we discussed enough.
Yes. With the thanks to the superintendent for this bold and courageous effort. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? 500.
Thank you, school
Thank
committee.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chandler. A noble effort.
Scott's like, I got off easy this time.
Bethany, in all seriousness, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay. Report of the superintendent.
Thank you. So you have the superintendent's newsletter. The only piece I need you to approve right now are bill and payroll warrants.
So moved.
Second.
We'll take these en masse, as usual, yes?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I have a motion and a second for the bill and payroll warrants. Any discussion?
Yes. I
Yes.
just want to take this opportunity to point out, because we voted about warrants and signing of the warrants tonight, it's just a good time to remind anyone who's listening that we approve these warrants in these total large amounts of money. But we have all seen these warrants. We've all had the opportunity to question them. They've been reviewed by the school committee, and this is just a formality at the school committee meeting. Just thought it was a good time to point that out.
Amen. Yes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? 500.
I have one gift that was not in the superintendent's newsletter that I will ask that you accept. It's a $500 check from Special Olympics Massachusetts. It's because we are a unified champion school, and it is for our Unified Strength and Conditioning Program at the high school. So thank you to Special Olympics of Massachusetts, and I ask that you accept this very generous gift.
So moved.
Second.
Yes, with thanks. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstained? 500.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Okay. Report of the school committee. We need to vote on the calendar. Now, just for clarification, when I looked at this calendar, and I guess I can ask Jamie this question, absent any description next to the calendar date, that's just a regular meeting? Is that a fair statement?
Everything in black is your regular meetings. The navy, I was trying to, we're gonna have extra meetings for your search meeting.
Right.
And I wanted to make sure that I placed them so they weren't impacting the regular schedule. And there's 5 Thursdays in October, and I know you wanted to get a bulk of that work done at that time, so I tried to schedule them in. We have the exact same number of meetings that you always do, listed in black ink, and then the subcommittee's kind of woven in between during that heavy time. And I looked at what we did 3 years ago, and it's pretty much mirrored to the timeline of how far apart those subcommittee meetings were. And then down below, I included your mask conference dates so that she would just know why I did not choose those. And the
Yep.
only very big difference is that on November 6th in the morning, there would be a workshop, and then that evening would be the budget presentation instead of having it on a Tuesday morning.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
On November 6th, your budget workshop.
Oh,
would be
yes,
in the
yes.
morning, and then your meeting would be in the evening instead of on a Tuesday and then the following week Thursday. November is tricky because you have Veterans Day, you have your mass conference, and you have Thanksgiving, and we're also going to be in the middle of a search, so it's a trickier time, so I just was trying to be creative. Thank you, Jamie.
Yes, agreed. And Matt, I assume this meets your needs?
Yes, absolutely.
Kevin?
I would just add that I know this is primarily for dates, but so that we won't be discussing superintendent goals at a workshop meeting, I don't think, now, because we're on the 2-year cycle, and we won't have the mid-cycle review in January. So we still have the meeting, but those won't occur at those meetings. We don't need that. And and I'd also just add that depending on the committees get formed for subcommittee meetings, that we can't commit to dates yet, just because we haven't met with the consultant yet to see what his schedule is and what he has available. In general, I think we can, we'll work
for the
around our
search
meetings,
committee stuff?
because we have to, but I just don't think we can commit to those actual subcommittee dates at this time. That's all.
I think, can we just make sure that it's just noted that they're tentative?
Those could be tentative, yeah.
I can write tentative
Yeah, I think just tentative, just because,
So that's for the 3 search committee dates?
The things that are in Navy, I think, could be tentative. If you just add the word tentative, I think that makes it
Actually,
fine.
there's 4.
4 of them.
right.
And I do have a question for Matt. On August 21st, you do not want to review your goals, or you want to omit it?
I'm happy to review my goals. I mean, I would leave it to,
I don't think it's a
committee.
bad idea to review them.
No,
We're not
just provide an
evaluating them.
update, yeah.
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 All right, I'll write review. Okay.
Motion to accept with the amendment of tentative on the Navy dates regarding the search committee.
I just had one more question, though. June 4th, is that, so that's a Thursday, I'm assuming? I'm trying to look it up on the calendar. So that would be the day before graduation.
And
That's awards
Senior night.
night.
that's awards night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that would probably have to move then to the following Thursday, which would be the
11th, yeah.
How could you possibly know that?
because it's the same.
Because I really enjoy awards night and graduation, so.
And you knew it was June 4th?
Well, I know it's the first week in June. I've been around for a while, Jeff, yeah.
Not our first rodeo, Jeff. It's the 6th this year, though, right? The
It's
graduation?
Friday the 6th.
Whatever the Friday
So
is,
the
yeah.
June 4th will become June 11th, and I'll make sure that the evening school knows that, because they usually plan their graduation the following week.
But there's usually on a Wednesday, right?
Sometimes it's on a Thursday or Wednesday.
Do we have the date for that one this year?
It's the following week. So is that the 11th this year? Yeah.
June 11th this year?
No, that's the, yes, Wednesday the 11th, yes.
That's the,
Night school graduation? Or past graduation, sorry.
And I do just want to say one other thing. February 26th, the location is to be determined only because we have this room reserved for the first and third Thursday of every month, and with February vacation, we had to utilize the 4th like we did this year. So we'll plan on probably utilizing the middle school, but I know that that's a busy time with their drama club and all of that, so I just left it to be determined for now.
Okay.
So I made a motion, someone just has to second me.
Yeah,
with the change.
With the change
To
for the
June 11th.
Navy things to tentative and the date, the 4th to the 11th.
Okay.
Second.
okay. Anything else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500. So in your packet was a list of school committee subcommittees. I'm not going to ask you to tell me tonight, but one of my responsibilities is to assign people to these subcommittees. If you have particular desires, either to maintain what you've got or not maintain what you've got, please just send me an email and let me know, because next meeting, I will fill in the blanks. Yes?
I would just like to make it easy. I'd like to remain chair of policy review if possible, if no one else is interested.
Have you done a good job?
I feel like I have.
I'm kidding. You've
I'm
done
well attended at most of them.
Not only have you done an excellent job, your brevity, has been your hallmark.
Oh, yes. I keep short, sweet, and to the point.
Yeah,
No fuss, no muss with policy.
I got it.
And I would also like to remain the delegate for mask.
We'll do that vote in the fall,
Okay.
right off
But I'm just throwing it out, throwing my hat in the ring already.
Got it. Okay. Roger, do you have any particular interests that you see? If not, I'll just give you,
Not sure.
well, if you think about it, feel free to shoot me an email, And if you don't, I'll assign you to the things that I think you'll find interesting. And policy review may actually be one of them. 'Cause
Okay.
it's a good, oh, and is it fair to say that the Cape Cod Collaborative is Zooming?
Yes.
Okay.
Policy review Zoom also.
Oh, really? Well, so I may ask you to do Cape Cod Collaborative because it's an interesting, and I did it for years, it's an interesting way of getting exposure to something that you won't even know anything about until you get into it, and then you'll become all of a sudden our expert. But the important thing is you can do it from home.
I see.
I used to have to go to Hyannis, which was not fun. So Zooming is a major improvement. Okay, any other requests? You can fire emails at me. Other than that, anybody have anything else they'd like to bring up?
Motion to adjourn?
Yeah, I think so. With, again, many thanks to Emma, since she's off to Bridgewater State to light a fire under those professors.
Let's get Roger in the record, have him second the meeting to adjourn.
You want to adjourn?
I do.
Second? Okay, we got it. Have a great night, everybody.
Aye, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Aye.
Procedural. Robert's Rules of Order, we can't fall off the wagon yet.